guys,
everybody.
welcome.
Thanks for joining us for another Michael's Community Classroom class. We'll wait for everyone to kind of trickle in. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Emma Panuski. I'm a content creator here at Plaid, and I am thrilled to show you today how to make this really cute wreath alphabet hanging. So Dylan is moderating this class today. So if you have any questions throughout the class, make sure to comment them into the Q&A, and Dylan will either answer them himself or relay them over to me. Yep. So with the new year, I know that a big resolution for everyone is to kind of, spruce things up in their house a little bit, like do some cleaning, adjust some things, redecorate. So this is really a great craft to do for the start of the new year. Just kind of, first right thing when you come home, you see, of course, your door. So this is a great way to put a smile on your face when you come home. And just, enjoy your living space.
Yeah, and this is a great twist on a wreath, Emma. This is so cool. I would never think to use clothespins to make a wreath, but it looks so great.
Yes, and Michael's, of course, has these really awesome supplies that you can use to make your own wreath. So today we're going to do clothespins, but really you could use pom-poms. You could wrap it in string with Mod Podge. The opportunities and the ideas are endless. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started and show you guys all the supplies that you're going to need to follow along with me today. So you're going to need, first and foremost, a floral craft ring. This one is by Ashland, and of course it's available at Michael's. This is really going to be what holds our wreath together, what makes that wreath shape. So you're going to need this guy. Next, you're going to need a bunch of clothespins. So this is a 12-inch craft ring, and I counted all of these clothespins. We used 50 clothespins. So just be mindful of that when you buy your clothespins. Michael's has a lot of great clothespins to choose from. They have these plain ones, but they also have some really cute distressed ones in their stationery section. We found these in the kids craft section where they have a lot of their wooden craft supplies. All those pom-poms.
Yeah, these are some great basics that everybody probably might even have around their house.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Next, you're going to need a wood letter. So it can be really any type of wood letter. We have this black one, but it can be unfinished wood, white, whatever you have. Some yarn, of course, to make our cute little pom-poms. And then some paintbrushes. And then you're, of course, going to need your FolkArt paint. So we didn't use multi-surface. We just used regular acrylic because we are painting on wood in this, this really porous material that the floral craft ring is made out of. So there's no need to use multi-surface. You can just go ahead and use the regular FolkArt acrylic. And the colors that we are going to be using today are Minted Aqua, Navy Blue, Yellow Ochre, and Aqua. But of course, you can match them to fit your own personal style and your own personal decorations and home decor at home. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to paint our wreath. So like I said, it is completely up to you. You can use whatever colors you want, but we painted our wreath with Aqua. Removing our label. Guys, I'd love to know if you do this at home, what colors you would like to put on your door.
Yeah, these are some great bright, fresh colors, kind of going with our, that would pair really nicely with our new Pantone Color of the Year palette, the yellow and gray.
I didn't even think about that, Dylan. So you guys, if you don't know, Pantone every year releases a color of the year. And this year was kind of unique because they released 2 colors of the year. And those colors are Ultimate Gray, which is a really beautiful gray color, kind of medium gray. And then also Illuminating, which is a really vibrant yellow color. And they kind of just spoke about in their messaging that they released how the 2 colors together represent strength and unity and hope and better things to come. So it's a good message to remember when you are at your home, when you're coming home. So You could even amp it up a little bit and add some gray to really make it more like Pantone's colors of the year.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen when they do a release like that, they release palettes as well that kind of feature the color of the year or colors of the year in this case. And there's actually a palette called the Aviary palette that has this beautiful aqua in it. So we're right on trend here, Emma.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay, just finishing up. And I'm just using a 1-inch flat brush, you guys. Yeah, I always like to look at Pantone for inspiration for some of my color palettes just when I craft. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the blow dryer really quick. Okay, that's dry enough. And now I just want to get the sides of my wreath. This is a great craft to do with kids at home too, because it is just kind of one of those crafts that you can kind of just zone out, maybe watch a movie and just paint. And then at the end, you have a really beautiful result.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Just have them, give each kid a bunch of clothespins and let them go to town, and then you get a really
and then
cool.
you get to arrange them in the end.
Yeah, yeah. Bring some order to the project.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the best kinds of family crafts, I feel like, when the person who's behind the craft has the last say in how it looks in the end, but everyone still gets to contribute and feel special. Okay, we're almost done, you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to rinse my brush in my water and hit it with a blow dryer again. Alrighty. So now what we're going to do is we're going to paint some of our clothespins. So I kind of want to be mindful about how many clothespins I paint with each color. Like I said, I'm using a 12-inch floral wreath, and I counted out how many clothespins we ended up using in the final craft, and we ended up using 50 clothespins. So maybe this is me being a little bit type A, but I know I have 4 colors. So dividing that by 50, that gives us about 12 clothespins per color. And I'll show you something special that I did with this wreath. Some of the clothespins I just painted all the way down, and some of the clothespins I just kind of taped off because I really like that raw wood look. These clothespins are really awesome that you can get at Michael's. So since we're doing 12 of each color, about 12, maybe we'll do 6 halfway down and 6 painted all the way, but it's totally up to you. Like we said in the beginning of this, it is super duper customizable to whatever your taste is, whatever your color palette is at home, whatever your crafting style is.
Before we move on, Manuela in the comments was saying that her hair used to be this color aqua. Now it's a little bit green and a little orange, and they're calling her Billie Eilish. So
Well, there's nothing wrong with looking a little bit like Billie Eilish.
there you go.
Okay, so now I'm going to put some of my paint onto my palette.
Which color is that again?
So this is yellow ochre.
Perfect.
Which of course they have at Michael's. And then maybe some of my minted aqua. And we didn't do this in our event listing when we listed all of the different colors that we were going to use. But I was kind of like, you know what, this would actually be a really great addition to this craft. So this is FolkArt Treasure Gold, and it is available at Michael's. It is a product that we make here at Plaid, and it is pretty much the most metallic paint that you can get on the market, and that's non-toxic. So we love using Treasure Gold here, and I'll show you guys in a little bit, but it just creates this like really beautiful luster and sheen in all of your craft projects, and it's non-toxic, so you don't have to worry about getting it on your hands or sniffing it, anything like that. You don't have to work in a well-ventilated area. Your regular craft room will be totally fine. Okay, so I'm going to move down to a smaller flat brush just so it base coating these gets a little bit more manageable. Okay, and now, oh, you know what, I forgot. So a little key tip to painting these and not getting super duper messy is that you can actually just remove the metal piece of your clothespin, and then it'll slide right out just like that. And then you can add it later. So make sure you don't lose it though, or else you won't be able to use this clothespin. It just makes painting clothespins a lot easier. So I'll show you how I did that one more time. So I kind of went like this. So it's kind of making an X almost. And then I just kind of wiggle it until it comes off. So save this piece. And there you have your separated clothespins. And trust me, it makes painting them a game changer. So now we're just going to go ahead and base coat clothespins.
We had a comment about somebody using this wreath outside, and I suggested our FolkArt outdoor paints. So that would be great.
Absolutely. Our FolkArt outdoor paint or our FolkArt multi-surface paint, if you wanted to put this where, an awning's not covering it or something like that, that is a great suggestion, a great alternative.
And then Perry made a comment that, doesn't this take a long time to paint all 50? Probably does, right, Emma?
Yes, I'm trying to paint along with you guys just in case you're doing this at home. It's just, you guys can do it in time with me in case you have any questions.
Right.
But yes, that's why I said this is a great craft to sit in front of the TV, watch a movie, maybe spread it out a little bit, let your kids help, let your sister help, whoever,
It goes by kind of quick because you're just painting a small surface,
Yes. I'm now picking up my minted aqua, and I just want to give you guys just kind of the basics. I probably won't paint all 50 today, but I just want to let you guys know some of the tips and tricks that I learned throughout making this.
So we had some questions earlier about the easiest way to paint the clothespins, and you're basically kind of just painting the top, right?
Yeah, I'm just painting the top. Sorry that I didn't. Yes, I am.
No, that's good. So, basically you just get a brush that's about the size of your clothespin, the width of your clothespin, and then it's pretty quick.
Yeah, totally. And like I said, I like to remove all of the metal pieces, the pieces that keep it together beforehand, so I don't have to, put my paintbrush down, unscrew it, or not unscrew it, but separate it. I like to just, kind of go all in one go.
Yeah. And then that's the kind of play that we have going on. You've got the painted, the kind of solid color, and then you have all that bare wood on the side. So it really makes for a really nice look.
Absolutely. And now I'll show you guys how I did that little color blocked part. So I have my Minted Aqua. And you don't even have to use tape or anything. I like to just take my brush, I hope you guys can see that, and just go one swoop across. And that leaves me with a really straight line just with this flat brush. And then I just like to pull my paint down.
And then most clothespins have those little markings on the pin, so that makes it pretty easy to kind of like only paint a certain part of it, right?
Absolutely. So what Dylan's talking about, they have these little markings right here. So if you wanted to just paint up to there, that would be a great marker to let you know where to paint and where not to paint, if you wanted to go for this raw wood color blocked look. Okay. Maybe I'll paint a couple more of these guys, bringing my Aqua again. So you guys, I want to know if everyone at home is, if you want to make this yourself, if you're going to use these colors, or if you're going to adjust them to your own personal home decor. So let Dylan know so that I can know.
And then we had a question if you are going to show us how to put the clothespins back together after you paint them. Do you think you can manage?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So the paint right now is still a little bit wet, so
Yeah.
I can go ahead and hit one with the blow dryer just so I can go ahead and show you guys that real quick.
Perfect.
Alrighty. So what I want to do is I want to slide this on here, as if you can see. Oh, you know what? So I want to line them up so that they're equal and how they would look with the metal thing on it. Okay, so now I'm just kind of sliding it on like this. And I have these two bars. I'm going to do this up here so you guys can see. So I'm going to put that first bar in that little indent that the wood makes. And I'm going to pull this. Oops.
And while you're doing that, we had some color suggestion. One person said some Mardi Gras colors. That'd be great.
That, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to. So what you want to do, you want to make sure that the metal bar is touching and is kind of in that little groove. And then you want to pull the other piece back and make sure that it's touching. Why is this? Oh my gosh, that's why. Okay, sorry everyone. I was like, why is this not working? Okay, so what you actually want to do, you want to put this spring in here. You can see where that goes.
Perfect.
Okay, and now put the metal bar in that little indent and just pull it back. And just squeeze it in, make sure it's in there.
Perfect.
All right, I'm gonna show you guys that one more time since the first time might have been a little confusing. So we're looking for this part of the clothespin, and we're going to put our little spring looking part in between there. So spring goes in, see that? And now we're gonna take our metal bar, separate it, pull it back, make sure it's nice and snug in there.
Perfect.
And it goes right back on. So let me know if that makes sense. I can do it again for you guys if you want me to. All Alrighty. You know, another great idea too, if you you could Mod Podge onto these clothespins and have maybe some of your clothespins being a really cute little design and then the rest being solid color or color blocked, or even just leaving some raw wood. That would be adorable.
Yeah, you could even, you know, obviously we made this kind of not for any particular season, just kind of an all year round wreath, but you could make a separate one for all the holidays, all the seasons. It lends itself really well for that.
I love that, yeah. Valentine's Day is coming. You could make a really cute one with your favorite Valentine's colors.
You could even do this to a flat wood shape. You don't even necessarily have to have a wreath. You could just like go around the edges of like a heart shape or something like that. That'd be really cute.
Absolutely. And if you wanted to, you wouldn't even have to put the letter inside. You could just use the actual clothespin and maybe hang a picture or two, have some pictures hanging down.
Yeah.
Sometimes getting them off is a little trickier than others, but they always come off. Okay, now that we've painted some of our clothespins, I'm just going to go ahead and attach all the ones that we painted so far. Putting the spring in that little hole and then dragging them back. That easy. It's super quick once you get the hang of it. And one more. Oops. Okay, so next thing I'm going to base coat my black letter. So because I knew when I was buying all my supplies at Michael's that I wanted my letter to be navy just because that's the color scheme I was going for, I bought black because black is a darker color. So the navy will just go on really easily. If I was painting maybe like a really light pink, I would want to get a white letter. You just kind of, it's good to be mindful about those things, you know, the undercolor of whatever you're going to paint if you have the option. Okay, so I'm taking my navy blue and I'm adding that to my palette. And I'm going to take my 1-inch brush and just go ahead and base coat it. And look how nice and opaque that looks on there.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. This thing is really only going to need one coat, and same with all my clothespins. Hey, Will, would you mind grabbing me just a little cup of water? And maybe another empty cup too. Thanks. I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I meant to show you with these clothespins. Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Will. Would you mind grabbing me another empty cup too? Thanks. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something that would be really cool to do to your clothespins for maybe like a kind of beachy coastal look. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of my Aqua, but any paint color will do. And I'm going to squeeze a little bit of it into my cup. I'll let you guys see how much that is. And so let's say we're going to go for a ratio of 2 parts paint to 1 part water. So we really just want a little tiny splash of water. That's perfect. And I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to go ahead and mix the water and the paint. And I'll show you guys what consistency I'm looking for in the end. Because, you know, all different colors of paint sometimes have a different thicknesses. And so you just have to be mindful and look out for the results. So I'm going to show you the consistency of what you want to look out for when you guys do this at home. So that's a little bit too thick. I'm going to add a little bit more water because I kind of want it to be like milk.
So you're kind of making like a little color wash.
Yes. You're getting ahead of me, Dylan. Okay, so that has a little bit too much paint on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and rinse that brush off. And I'm going to grab one of my clothespins, and I don't even need to take the metal off of this one because the paint will be so thinned down by the water that it'll wipe right off of this metal piece. So I'm going to grab my brush and I'm just going to go and give it a good swipe, and then I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to wipe that off.
Oh, that's so cool. It looks almost like a stain.
Yes, so see how cool that is? It's like your own little aqua stain. So you don't need to, you know, I like to use this trick for all different types of wood, but how cute would that be on your wreath? Just for your beach house, for like a bunch of stained clothespins in aqua colors, in brown colors, in these ochre colors. That would be super, super cute. So I just wanted to show you guys that little technique real quick. Now back to our letter. I'm gonna blow dry him really quick. Okay. Now, something to be mindful of is where you're going to place your clothespins on your wreath, because I'll show you guys my finished one real quick, because the letter is actually resting on the clothespins and not the wreath itself, because this is a 12-inch wreath. And as you guys can see, this would fall right through it. So the clothespins are acting as like a little, I don't know what you'd call it. It's really holding it up. So
A little lead so that you can adhere it.
yes, thank you, Dylan. Okay, so we want to be mindful of where our clothespins go. And I know that these clothespins aren't painted, but I just want to show you guys this next part so you don't have to watch me paint 50 clothespins. So something that I did with this finished one is that I looked to where the metal piece was, and that's right where I hung it off my wreath. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. So you kind of use it as a guide, so you don't have to measure.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And that way it's really even and you don't get any wonky, weird lines. So I just like to place all these. And I want it to kind of be close together just because that's how I prefer it to look, but it's really up to you. And once you have that guide and you know where to like hang off your wreath, it makes it a lot more cohesive looking, and it looks really nice. And you just want to go around. You guys, this would be really cute too if you Mod Podged some glitter onto these clothespins for your little craft studio. That would be adorable. Maybe for a kid's room. So sometimes when you're just kind of like into it, you have an idea of in your head of where on the clothespin they're going to hang off of the wreath, but you just have to check because I was totally off. You have to make sure that this metal piece is up against the edge of the wreath. You good over there, Dylan?
Yeah, everybody's just relaxed and like watching you do all this.
Good. This is a really relaxing craft. Sometimes those are the best kinds of crafts when you can just kind of zone out, paint. You don't really have to think too much. I have my favorite clothespin back in. All right, and so now that we have them all kind of laid out, we get to see the spacing, if we like the spacing, if we need to adjust anything, because we need to do this prior to adhering all of our items onto our wreath. We want to make sure that the spacing is where we want it so that we don't have to worry about it later after it's already stuck on there. So for the purpose of today's craft, I'm going to be using a hot glue gun just for time's sake. But I would really recommend using E6000. It's a really durable glue, and especially if you're going to put this outside and you live in a warm climate, then the hot glue actually might heat up outside and your things might fall off of your wreath. So make sure to use E6000.
And we had one question about if you wanted to do this on a mirror. So E6000 would definitely be the way to go on a mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. I love that on a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but absolutely E6000 for a mirror, for any glass. So you would just take your clothespin, dab your glue. There you go. And it's just really important to space it out before you glue it down because, you know, it's kind of like when you write a sign for somebody and then you're writing a happy birthday sign and you write the H really big and then the A really big and then you run out of space for the two P's and the Y. So you just have to be, you know, mindful of your spacing before you go ahead and start getting glue crazy. You want to make sure that it's going to look good in the end. we good over there, Dylan? Any questions?
Yeah, everybody in the chat is just talking about all the different ways that they would attempt this.
Okay,
The
cool.
different ideas. We're kind of talking about the mirror.
I
So,
love that mirror idea. That's an awesome idea.
yeah, so somebody was talking about you could basically do this on a wreath form, and then you could get a 12-inch mirror and just adhere that to the back of the wreath form. So you'd have that colored frame almost.
You guys are so creative. I love that idea.
Right? Yeah.
So real quick, I want to kind of show off my, we're not done hot gluing them all yet, but I just want to show off my treasure gold idea really quick. Set this aside. So what I have here is just a tiny little wooden cube, and I like to use this in any of my distressing crafts. So I'm going to break out my treasure gold. And I'm going to just take the lid and I'm going to dip it in my treasure gold so that I get some on my wood cube. And now I want to offload that onto my paper towel so that I'm left with just a little bit of treasure gold. See that? Maybe that's too much. So now I'm going to go around the edges. And create this distressed pattern.
Love that. Like a small accent of that metallic. It's great.
Yes.
And I think
Gives
this
it a
is
little bit
Mayan gold. So we have like a traditional gold color, but this is a bit of a paler gold.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you guys can see just how shimmery that is.
So Emma's using a little block of wood. Any block of wood would work. And we use these in the studio all the time to distress, just like you see Emma doing now, just adding paint. You kind of offload your paint a little bit so you don't have a really thick coat. And then you just kind of run it along your project. So we primarily use it for home decor pieces and big pieces of furniture. But on small pieces like this, it makes everything pop.
Totally. And I like to just make sure I get the edges because if something really were distressed, it would probably be distressed in the edges first. Look how beautiful.
That's really cool.
Okay, so that was just a little tip.
On your original design.
I'm gonna finish hot gluing this bad boy.
Now, if you were using the E6000, obviously your dry time is going to be a little bit longer than hot glue. Hot glue dries pretty fast, but that could be a good thing because if you don't space out your clothespins right, you would have time to kind of move them around.
Absolutely. That's a really great point, Dylan. The benefit to using E6000 is that you don't have to even lay them out in the beginning. You can just go ahead and start gluing them down because you will be able to pick it back up again and kind of adjust it to your liking. As opposed to hot glue, of course. All right, so there we go. All of our clothespins are on our wreath there. And now we're just gonna go ahead and lay this over our clothespins. And I like to just take a pencil and just kind of mark like little corners about where I want to put my hot glue. So I know that I want to put it there, just so I can, because once I take it off, I'm like, okay, I saw the bee down there before, but I have no idea where it just was. So that kind of acts as my guide. And of course, if you are using E6000, you don't really have to worry about that as much because you can kind of reposition it how you like. Okay, and then really all you would do next, once you have all of your clothespins painted in your final design, you would just add some of these cute little pom-poms if you wanted to, and then you'd be done with your project.
Love that.
Yeah, so everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this Michael's Community Classroom class. We want to give a big thank you to Michael's for allowing us to be here and to give you this little tutorial today. And I was honored that I was able to teach you guys how to do this really neat craft. So this has been recorded. So if you need to go back and look for some tips or something that you missed throughout the live stream, this will be available in a few days on Michael's YouTube page or their online community classroom page on their website. So yeah, you can go ahead there and, get anything that you might have missed. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Bye.